Representative Manley. Our third topic is workers' compensation. And if I could ask Representative Larry Walsh Jr. to join us. And we will begin with Representative Batinick.
10 minutes of me. Okay, workers' compensation. One of the things that I did before I even took office was we have a research unit called Legislative Research Unit. And I had them, I learned about this group at orientation, and I said, how much would state and local governments save if we had average work comp costs, just the governments themselves? The direct savings was $200 to $300 million if we had average work comp costs, because school districts, municipalities, besides businesses, have work comp costs. This didn't include indirect costs, because while you pay work comp costs to your employees, you also pay work comp when you build a building or when we pave a road. And obviously construction, work comp costs are higher than, let's say, work comp costs for a teacher. So there's a lot of indirect costs. So the total cost of us having a higher than average work comp burden in the state is probably somewhere in the billion plus dollars. So workers' compensation reform is something that is important to both businesses in the state, but also balancing the budgets of school district, municipalities, and the state itself. I know the University of Illinois has a huge workers' compensation bill. So a lot of when I looked at my report, I looked for anomalies because it compared us to other states. And Massachusetts has the 44th highest workers' compensation cost, which I thought was crazy. You know, the idea is that there's this race in the bottom. If you cut benefits, well, that's going to lower work comp costs, and that's obviously going to be something that's going to be harder to get through the General Assembly because people don't want to cut benefits. Massachusetts does something different. I've been talking about this for 2 years, and we've had kind of the speaker and the Democrats over here, and the governor and Republicans over here arguing about causation back and forth. Where, my plan, the Massachusetts plan, is kind of like over there. It's completely different. I'm happy to say that it's kind of gotten in the bloodstream, and the governor actually mentioned in his last budget address. Here's what Massachusetts does that's different than what we do. We have a very litigious system. I know someone that's in the House of Representatives that needed soldier surgery. They fought over it for about a year. After she had her surgery, she was back to work in 3 weeks. That was a costly work comp claim. Had she had good surgery right away, you wouldn't have that year of lost wages. Well, Massachusetts has a system where all cases have to be settled within 12 weeks. The insurance company is required to pay the injured worker within 7 days. While they have employer-directed care, the injured employee can go to his own doctor, and if there's a disagreement, it goes to this ombudsman board that makes a decision. So any case that goes over 12 weeks, or if there's any disagreement, it goes to the state board that determines whether or not they're getting good care. The difference is Massachusetts focuses on getting the worker healed and back to work quickly. By focusing on what's the real issue at hand, it's actually resulted in one of the most efficient workers' compensation system nationally. They have above average surgical costs, they have average indemnity costs, the workers get paid quickly, so there's really nothing bad for the worker there. Yet they have the 44th highest workers' compensation rate. So this is another, I'm glad this is in the bloodstream now. I think it's a great model. It's something that I'm trying to work with all groups on. Because I think if you take a little bit of a different perspective on how to solve the problem, it's something that everybody that I'm like, whether you're a business or a municipality or a school district, this is something that can affect your budgets in a positive way if you do it right. So, thank you.
Next up is Representative Larry Walsh Jr. Representative Walsh has been serving the 86th district since May of 2012. He was sworn in to his third term on January 11th, 2017. His House Committee's assignments for the 100th General Assembly are counties and townships, for which he is chairman, cost benefit analysis, for which he is vice chairman, environment, labor and commerce, mass transit, and public utilities. Representative Walsh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having us here. Thanks for inviting us to get this update from the glorious town of Springfield. So workers' compensation is one of the main drivers in business decisions in the state of Illinois. There's no disagreement about that. On both sides of the aisle, we know that the cost of workers' compensation is adversely affecting a lot of business decisions throughout the state. Some of the avenues that we look at may differ though. And, as we've been through this progress over the last 2 years, last 3 years, the one thing that we've been adamant on is that there is cost savings within the 2011 reform. There are cost savings that have been seen in the overall workers' compensation. The thing that has come to light through 2 years of testimony in front of the Labor Committee and the Committee of the Whole on the House floor is that a lot of the businesses are not seeing that savings. And that's through the insurance companies. So in 2011, the reform that took place affected workers with some benefit cuts, not where it's causation that some other states have, but there was reduced benefit in repetitive injuries, carpal tunnel, etc. There was reductions in the medical fee schedule, so the docs and the hospitals that perform workers' compensation work seeing reduced payments from the state. And then thirdly was the trial lawyers, as far as what they can recoup in cost if a case goes to trial or through their process. The only entity that was left out of that reform package was the insurance industry. Now for Caterpillars and John Deere's and Nabisco's and General Electrics that are self-insured, that may not matter because a lot of their costs come off the bottom line. And it does matter to their business model, but at the end of the day, they're not going out and paying a Hartford or a Travelers Insurance a workers' compensation insurance premium. For those folks that are running a small business, medium-sized business, and even a large business that go out and purchase that on the market, that premium is a huge effect. It's a huge effect. So one of the things over the last couple months that we've been doing is putting together a package that realizes that. And the NCCI, which is the National Consumer Compensation Insurance, they basically do a rating of comp cost. Illinois, since the 2011 reforms, has cost reductions in the realm of 25 to 30%. In that same time frame, insurance industries that are dealing with workers' compensation have seen their profits go from 0.8% to 10.2%. That's a big area. So what we're asking the insurance industry to do is basically come to the Department of Insurance and lay your rates out. How are you coming up with these rates? And it's kind of a form of regulation. We're not dictating to them what they must do, but it gives kind of transparency on what they're providing for their consumers. The second thing in that bill that we're looking to do is give the consumer the availability to go to the Illinois Department of Insurance and say, hey, I think my rate may be out of line. Can you guys take a look at this and see? Now, this is the same thing that happens in Wisconsin, Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, and Iowa. A lot of businesses like to compare us to those states. It's the same thing they do. So that is one of the, actually the proposal that we are pushing. And it's the Democrats on the Labor Committee and putting this forward. There's other issues that are out there that we can agree on, but as of right now, that's kind of where we're at with workers' compensation and where we see the need for the state to actually take a look at and move forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.